Let's make some money. All right. So I posted last week a fun little post. If you had to make $1,000, like if you had to come up with $1,000 in the next 24 hours, what would you sell? Now, way back when, right, prior to being an entrepreneur, trying to be a business owner, my husband and I, we would throw a garage sale. I mean, if we needed to make some money, we had an unexpected bill, wanted to go on vacation, we would have a garage sale. We would clean out the closets, we would clean out the basement, and we would host these epic garage sales, like the mother of all garage sales. We would get aggressive. Like, if you need something bad enough, you're like, sell something, right? You can sell something, you can create something, right? If you're handy, if you're crafty, if you're artistic, the fabulous thing is we can always figure out a way. Like, it's all figure outable. Isn't that what Marie Forleo says? It's all figure outable. And so many, many years ago, my husband and I, we were planning this epic trip to Europe. And I wanted to have the trip prepaid. We were going to be gone for an entire month, 5 weeks, all five of us. We were going to be staying in Europe. We were going to be in Paris. We were going to be in Italy. We were going to be in Spain. We were going to be in London. We were doing all these things. And I wanted to have the trip paid for before we went on the trip, so that I could rest and relax and not be stressed about, these credit card bills that were piling up, because so often financial stress turns into fights with the family because we're stressed out and we're angry and we're upset and all of this stuff. So I wanted to pay off this trip before we went. And so we just got really aggressive about selling stuff. We were recycling things. We were taking things to the consignment store. We hosted the mother of all garage sales. And it was really beneficial in multiple ways, right? Like, we were cleansing, getting rid of the clutter, and also making some quick cash. And we were able to, over the course of several months, planning this trip, get the entire thing paid for before we ever left town. So it made for a really fun trip. We took a limo to the airport, and we just had this really fabulous experience and created these great memories with our kids. It was also the trip that I think we talk about. I talk about it in my very first book that I ever published, Lists That Saved My Life, because our packing list, we were traveling across Europe. My kids were young. They had to be in charge of their own suitcases, getting off of trains, getting on subways, right? They had to be able to get and take care of their own suitcases. And so this was the trip that we packed 5 weeks with 5 outfits. 5 people each had 5 outfits. And it was one of the most popular chapters in my very first book that I ever published, called Lists That Saved My Life. All right, but we need to make money, right? As entrepreneurs, we are in business. What separates a business from a hobby is cash flow, right? Hobby, you're typically spending. Now, if you can get your hobby to pay you, awesome, right? But most small business owners are not taking a paycheck. They are running expensive hobbies because we're not bringing in revenue. And there's 2 things that we teach at the Media Mastery Bootcamp. Number 1 is exposure, and number 2 is revenue. The 2 things to be focused on as a business owner, right? We get so caught up in content and posting, engagement, a lot of engagement, which once they're in your sales funnel, right? Once they're in your castle, we definitely want to engage. But truly, we are in business. These are customers. And we spend a lot of time not selling, right? We just spend a lot of time not selling and not creating revenue. And maybe the urgency isn't there. Maybe we have a backup plan. Maybe we have an alternative source of revenue and income. And so our business, if it makes money, that would be nice, but it's not necessary. And so there's no urgency. But what is so exciting is the fact that at any given moment in the next 24 hours, you could find a way to create some income and revenue by selling something. So I'm going to break all that down for you. We're going to kind of go through a fun little exercise. At the Media Mastery Bootcamp, we do the 6-figure blueprint on how to make 6 figures. But today we're just going to make 4, right? We're going to go, how do we make a quick, $1,000 in the next 24 hours? Last week, I went to a power team luncheon here in Orlando. Many of you know Bill Walsh was my speaker coach, my business mentor, my business coach. I traveled for 2 years speaking on his stages and doing all this really fun stuff with him. And Bill is a salesperson, right? He is a true sales guy, and he has this really brilliant business mind. But what I was inspired by going to his lunch last week, he is hosting these fabulous power lunches all over the country, not in his hometown, right? You are not limited to your hometown. You are not limited to a Zoom, right? The world is your oyster, and the world is open for business right now. So you can think outside of your geographical boundaries, right? Past the fences. You can go out and explore. If you're watching Michelle Moras and Sally Ward, they are on this epic world book tour, taking their show on the road and creating all this exciting exposure and momentum, and they are selling books, right? They're selling stuff. Back to Bill, he is hosting these lunches. And at these lunches, right, there are sales opportunity. He gives great value. And at the end of it, there's an opportunity to join his program. He is hosting. This is the thing. Like this, yep, this is why you are making money. And this is why most business owners are not making money. And it boiled down to this one thing right here. You ready? Grab your notes, right? How many times is he hosting these lunches every month? He is hosting 12 to 15 of these lunches every single month. And at every one of these lunches, he has 12 to 20 people, right? It's not these huge crowds. You don't have to have 100 people show up in the room. You just need a handful of qualified leads who show up in the room, right? And bring energy, your ideal client, your target audience that you are presenting to one to many. He is doing it 12 times a month. So if you were to look back at our media exposure tracker, right? You can't track what you don't measure. If you were to look back at your tracker and say, how many presentations, how many phone calls, and maybe these are one-on-one phone calls for you, and you're talking to one person at a time, and that's okay, right? If we say that Bill does 12 events a month, and let's say there's only 12 people in the room, it's 144 people. He knows his numbers, right? You've got to know your numbers. How many people do you need to be in front of and present to in order to hit your revenue goals for the month? So his is probably somewhere around 150 people, right? If he's in front of 150 people and, X number end up becoming customers, he's hitting his revenue goals. He's done the math. Have you done the math, right? So if we look back, all right, how many people, right, have I presented to? How many other stages have I been featured on, right, in the last 90 days? And it's 90-day cycles, right? Like we can build our business in these 90-day cycles. And so when you look, right, if you look at the month and you can kind of see, right, how many different times am I doing 2 a week, right? Two interviews on other people's stages creates the engagement, but you're not selling on those stages. You've got to get them into either your sales funnel, which is email marketing, a presentation, a sales call, right? A place where you say, here, click this button and buy. Here's this order form, fill it up, take a credit card, right? There's a transaction that has to take place. So if you look at your tracker, look at your calendar, look online, how many presentations am I doing in order to hit my revenue goals? So that was just really fascinating, right? 12, I was shocked by the number. I was thinking he was doing, like maybe 4 a month, 1 a week. I know when he was here last week, he did 4 just in that week. He was in Tampa, he was in Orlando, he was in Fort Lauderdale, he was in Miami before he headed home. And I'm not asking you to like swing the pendulum and go extreme from nothing to, Mach 7 or whatever extreme is, right? But we've got to do something, and we've got to start. And where we get past our fear and where we create momentum is in the action of starting, of doing something, setting a deadline with a very clear, measurable outcome. In the next 24 hours, I want to make $1,000, right? Or whatever that number is for you. Right? You decide, But remember, like, you are in business to make a profit, right? To create income. That's the difference, right? Business owners make money, hobbies do not. Even as a nonprofit, that is simply a sales tax entity. You are still bringing in dollars, right? You still need to create income, right? Whether that's in donor dollars or as a customer, right? However you're doing it. So here's a fun little activity, right? Now, if you have your sales funnel, right? You have your nice little sales castle, and we're creating exposure, 2 interviews a week, 1 press release a month to create the exposure so that we're building our list, right? We have people that when we say, hey, come to our workshop, come to our presentation, let's get on a call, that they show up, right? You've got people that are qualified buyers. They've already opted in. They've already followed you. The very easiest thing, right? Low ticket offer, LTO, right? The very easiest, the simplest, the quickest, the easiest thing for you to sell, because anybody can sell a book. People want to buy books. People want to support you by buying your book. It's an easy yes, right? If you have given some good content and you tell them, look, we go through this, we break this down. In fact, we have the $1 million sales funnel, it's in here. And please hold. Page 93, right? We go through the $1 million sales funnel. And of course, we also break this down. We also break this down at the Media Mastery Bootcamp that is coming up too. So if you give good content and then you tell people, but wait, there's more. How many books do you need to sell in order to create $1,000? Well, if they sell for 20 bucks, right? 1,000 divided by 20, 50. I just love my old fashioned calculator. I just love this guy. Okay, so 50 bucks, that's 2 interviews. In 2 interviews, you can sell 25 copies of your book. Now, if they're pre-recorded and they're going to launch later, like, this is why those 2 interviews a week really start to build momentum. This is why there's magic in doing 2 interviews a week. 2 interviews a week, selling 25 copies of your book. That's $1,000. That's $1,000. That's $1,000. I can't emphasize, right? A microphone in one hand and your book in the other. People often say that there's no money in book sales, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of money in book sales. 7 books a day, right? Do you know 7 people you can ask, invite, tell, beg, buy my book? 7 books a day, right? Let's just say you did that 7 times 30, right? That's 210 times 20 bucks. Oh, sorry, that's $4,200. It's way over 1,000. Hold on. We only need 50, right? 50 divided by 30, right? That's 2 books a day, right? 2 books a day. Now in 24 hours, right? We need to reach out to 50 people. Hey, do you have 50 people on your list? Do you have 50 people following you on social media? Could you run a Facebook ad? Could you run an email campaign? Could you send out a text message and say, hey, there's really good stuff in here. Grab the book today. 50 books, and that is $1,000 in the next 24 hours, right? That's you creating revenue. That's you creating sales. It's you creating income. And it's passive. I think that's my favorite part about being an author. So if you're not an author, you don't have this piece in your funnel yet, you want to create the food book, the book that puts food on the table, get your Fanny to Media Mastery Bootcamp next month so that we can get you creating this beautiful little sales funnel so that you will always, it's like printing money. It's like printing money. Okay, so there's one way. 50 books, 24 hours, $1,000. Now, if you're using somebody else to distribute it and you're using on-demand printing, my books are sold through Amazon, so I'm not going to get that $1,000 in my pocket in the next 24 hours, but I am going to earn the $1,000 in the next 24 hours. In order to actually put the money in my pocket, I would have to purchase the inventory in advance and be prepared for that. So this is accounts receivables, right? Accounts payables, AR, it's money that's coming. Good stuff, right? Okay, next, what's the next piece in your sales funnel, right? We're taking them through the sales castle. We want a low ticket item, right? So we've already sold them a $20 item. And the easiest thing is to sell them a digital course, right? Here's my digital program that takes you even further, that walks you step by step. It has worksheets and checklists and accountability, right? It has all the stuff built in to help you now take all the lessons you learned in the book, but now let's put it into action. So creating a fun $97 digital course that's pre-recorded, has some worksheets, has really good value, gives them the results that they are looking for. How many, right? $97 items. If we're going to sell $1,000, divide by a $97 item, I've got to sell 10 and a third, right? 10, 11, like right in there. Okay. So now if we're going to create this beautiful little funnel, right? Let's create this little sales castle funnel, right? At the top of it is exposure, right? 2 interviews a week plus 1 press release a month. That's how you create exposure. It's not rocket science. 2 interviews a week, 1 press release a month, and you can track it in your Media Mastery Tracker. We're going to lead it to a call to action, which is building your list, right? A call to a CTA to BYL, a call to action to build your list, right? And that building your list is telling people to go and buy your book, right? Right? Get them in, tell them to go buy your book. That group, now they've got the book, right? It's like you bought the CD, right? You like the song on the radio. Now you got the CD. Remember CDs, right? Or you bought the album, right? And now you're going to go and buy the concert tickets, right? We're going to go and, you know, expand our horizons a little bit in the same place, right? So now we have times 50. Over here we have times 10. And who do you think wants to buy? Who do you think wants to buy your group coaching programs, right? Who do you think wants to come to your live events? Who do you think wants to invest in your high ticket, higher value items? It's the people on the list, right? Not up here are not buying down here. We got to take them through. We got to take them through the system. So if I had a $500 item, which you should group, right? This is group coaching programs. This is actually $497 is not group coaching. $497 is your signature course, and it's all pre-recorded and it's all digital and it's all automated. It's your big, you know, it's your signature program. $497 times 2, where we add group coaching, right? If they want actually group coaching with you, we're going to bump that up, right? So we only need to sell 1 of those, 2 of those, 10 of those, right? Do you start to see how, like, at any given moment, you're just taking the people that already love you, the people you love, right? The people you love working with, the ones that are your favorites, you light up, right? When they call you, when you see their text message come through, you want to support them. You know what you've learned, what you teach will add value to their lives. You know it's going to make an impact. That's the thing with Bill. He's like, I know it will help them, right? I know Rainmaker is a game changer for small business, and I know that they need it. If you know that they need it, and it's the confidence and the commitment and the credibility that you bring to the table, you can help them, right? But start, right? We all want to be like down here, like, I just want to be able to sell this to, you know, strangers, right? We got to build the relationship. We got to nurture that. We got to filter out who's not the ideal client for you, whether geographically or demographically, like all of that. Like, if you're going to find who your most ideal clients are, but you're going to find them by going out 2 interviews a week, 1 press release a month. That's over 100 stages. That's thousands of media news desks, building relationships with media outlets every single month consistently. Love to have you join us at our Media Mastery Bootcamp. If this resonates with you, if this is like, I need to get my book out, I need to get my media story together, I need to be doing interviews, I need to be making money at all of this, I need the fundamentals. I need to get back to the basics. I need to start tracking. I need to start measuring. I need the fundamentals. Then I would love for you to come to the Media Mastery Bootcamp. We are going to take such good care of you. You're going to come out with an entire workbook, entire blueprint of building your business, creating exposure, and creating revenue. So quick, I'd love to hear if you made some money in the next 24 hours. If you want to take on the 24-hour money making challenge, just say yes in the post below. Yes to the challenge. And then we'll meet back here tomorrow and see how'd you do. All right. Cheers. Love you. Bye-bye.